Good afternoon, Mercia Town. Right, guys, it's good morning here, and as far as I'm aware, we're on a Friday now. So, Thursday, as you can actually see, we went into Mercia. Very, very rainy day. So, yeah, we got caught, we got wet. Going into Mercia, but not so bad. We missed most of the torrential heavy rain. And I'd just like to say thank you, Gloria. Thank you to everyone, Lee, everyone that helped support in a thumbs up, or just a chat, just a comment, whether it's a good comment or a bad comment. And that's what I've actually noticed since I've actually started to be a YouTuber. You know, you've got good intentions. So you actually start a YouTube channel with good intentions. And there's always someone that likes to throw a spanner in the works. So, you've got good intentions and and you've got quite a lot of subscribers, people watch and view your YouTube channel. You've always got some jealous, nasty little person that has to come on and make a big deal of your content. And that's just life, very, very jealous people, a lot of evil, nasty people out there. Now, I were actually chatting, So, guys, if you've got someone that's influencing you in a bad way, right, stand up to them. Don't listen to what people have to say. All you need to listen to is good comments, good communication, and it's a better lifestyle. And I were actually chatting to my friend Noel. Now, you won't see it in the long form video, but in one of my short videos, you'll see Noel. And he's a friend of mine. I don't see him very often now. So, he's a friend of mine that lives and works here in Mercia. So I started to chat to him, and he was chatting about one of his friends going back to America, and I actually didn't know this guy, and I think I've seen a picture of the guy. I could have seen a picture of the guy on Noel's Facebook, and he started to chat to me, and I says, I don't know the guy, I never met the guy. You never introduced me to the guy. 'Cause Noel has actually introduced me to quite a good few foreigners. And we started to chat, and one of Noel's friends from US, so one of his American friends who's gone back now to America, wants to fight in the Ukraine war. And this is a big deal for me too when I actually saw what was happening in Ukraine. So, if you guys are listening now, and don't bother making a comment. I'm chatting about things, Philippines, Ukraine, England. So it's not just about Philippines. So if you want to make a comment, make a comment, whether it's a good one or a bad one. So I'm chatting away. And, I thought Ukraine war, really, really bad. And it's still going on now. When I first came to the Philippines, this war had just started, Ukraine, Russia. And it's a really bad war. Well, all wars are bad, and there is quite a lot of wars going off in Africa. The white farmer, the boy in Africa. So, and now in England, like I said, God bless Ukraine war, but this guy wants to go and fight in the Ukraine war. And I understand it. For me, it's not about money, but for a lot of other guys, it's big money to go and fight in the Ukraine war. And you have to laugh because you could actually make a joke on it, and you have to make a joke. You know, you could say, well, what happens if you get killed? What happens if you get shot? But to be honest, you know, you don't get paid. But for me, it's not about getting paid. It's about stopping that damn nasty war, what's all wrong. And I think a lot of people feel that way, you know. They think, wow, this bad war. And I think that's why a lot of people go and sign up to this Ukraine war, you know, against Russia, what should never happen. And Putin, you know, wow, what a bad guy. Warmongers, you know, it needs to stop. But we've got us problems too, and this is actually, I had to, like I said in another video, I had to stop going on Facebook. I had to stop going on YouTube for a little while. I didn't stop going on YouTube. I just started to watch a movie. And, you know, the reason I started to watch a movie because I'm going through all this what's happening in England, you know. So what's happening in England is, you know, when I say England, I mean England, Wales, Scotland, Ireland, British Isles. And I actually don't see them all as different countries, but actually Wales and Scotland and England and Ireland, they are different countries, but you've got me drift, you know. And I suppose they should be governed, you know, I think Wales should be governed by Welsh people. I think Scotland should be governed by Scottish people, and so on and you know, so forth. So, you know, what I actually, there's just so much bad things going off in the world. And, you know, like I said, whatever, if you do something good, so you do good things all your life, so you've been a good person, you've done good things all your life, then you do one bad thing. Now, people are not going to, you know, criticise. They're not going to criticise and say, oh, such and so, you know, he's a great guy or she's a great girl, you know, she's done this, she did that. You know, she's done such a good things. Oh, this guy's done lots of good things in his lifetime. They always criticise that one bad thing. So now you've done one bad thing, you're a bad person, aren't you? According to those people. Self-righteous. So, you know, it just goes to show, you think in a good way, you go about your daily life in a good way. We've all got ups and downs, we're struggling, you know, we work in different ways, whether you're a YouTuber, whether you're digging a garden, you know, whether you're a gardener, a bricklayer, you know, whatever you do. So there's always going to be people that like to pull you down, and that's normally narcissist people. So, you know, bullies, you know, really, guys, but you'll always get bullies in life. So, you know, try and keep a positive attitude. And if you're getting bad feedback, you're getting bad comments, you've got bad friends, basically, you know, walk away from the bad people. Now, like I said, religion, I'm not religious. Now, what's happening in the UK? Don't tell me this video's about Philippines. You know for a fact I'm telling you I'm chatting about different things. So if you've got a complaint, complain, and then I'll delete your complaint. So it's as simple as that. So, you know, there's just so many bad things going off in the world. And, you know, Muslim, Shia rule, you know, there's just so many bad things. And, you know, England, Scotland, Wales, Ireland, British Isles, you know, world over. Have you noticed that? You work and work for years and years. This is all the people in all the countries. And then the country starts to become wealthy. And, you know, governments, you know, they really are. I've got to be honest what I think. They really are thieves, governments. And most of the governments are really bad people. You know, they'll give themselves a big fat pay rise. When they actually retire, they get something like 65,000 plus a year. Even though I'm saying when they retire, actually that's not true to my understanding. If you know if they finish after 1 year, right, governing a country, they get paid 65,000 plus for the rest of their life, whether they're working or not, if I've got that correctly. So, you know, and then you get old people that are actually freezing to damn death. They've built the country, they've paid the taxes, and then you've got some nasty narcissist MP, or, you know, MP, somebody that's in power. You know, you've just got basically, you've just got crazy people running a damn country. And, you know, I actually saw this. You know, basically, us guys, you know, we are strong people. And I'm talking about average Joe, right? We are strong people. But you know, today, what's that? I mean, if you were born in 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, you know, we are a lot stronger than people today. And what's happening with people today, you know, they're not strong and they've got money like they've never had money before. So the kids are actually spoiled. Now, I was actually chatting to a friend of mine, a mate of mine, and he lives in Doncaster, this friend of mine, and this was years back. And I used to take my stepdaughter, I used to take her to school, and we used to walk. I didn't go in car, and reason I've always walked to school when I was a kid, and you know, exercise keeps you fit, keeps you healthy, and it's just like I said, it's good exercise. So I used to walk to school with kids, and then I used to go back and walk back from school with dog and kids, and you know, but today they don't do that, do they? In England, you know, what they do is they take the kids to school in cars. Now, I know a lot of, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, it's not safe anymore. Well, that's damn correct. It's not safe anymore. But, you know, what I'm actually chatting about, and my point is, you know, we've made society very, very weak. You know, you can't do without, like, you cannot do without, in England you cannot do without water for a day, you cannot do without electricity for a day, you cannot go without food for a day. See, I can do that, and I'm sure there's quite a good few people that can do that. You know, it's a national emergency. You know, if there's electric's off for 1 day in England, it's a national emergency, it's on news, it's big news. But here in the Philippines, it's normal, because, you know, and me too, we are stronger people than what they are today. And, you know, a lot of these people that are actually running the country, you know, I just don't understand them whatsoever. And this is worldwide, all over. They're like, look at the people. This is not all governments, this is not all MPs, but a good majority of government. You know, they sort of look at people as though they're below them. And they sort of look at you as though, you know, you owe the government something. You know, and same with police as well. You know, we have to think the taxpayer is actually paying for, you know, we're paying for everything. We're paying for government. The government is actually, what's the word, not slaves of the people. They actually work for the people. So the government work for the people. But the government seem to think, average people, average good working people, honest people, work for the government. And, some of these laws what Keir Starmer's bringing out, I can't believe it. We had COVID-19, right? Now we've got all this shit coming into England. We've got all these, you know, Islamic beliefs. We've got all this Shia law wanting to happen in England or wanting to run country. There's just so many bad things that's happening. But what I actually find actually disgusting about the English Labour Party, what I actually find disgusting about them is freedom of speech, right, and putting people in prison for freedom of speech. But what the Labour Party and the government don't understand, they're not the power. The people possess the power if they stand together. And you've got some little creep dishing these laws out saying you're going to go to prison for free speech. Well, all I can say is prisons will be actually full and nothing gets done about all these invaders coming to England, scamming the country, taking your money. And what's so bad is you've got this government and you've got you've got people at 78 year old, and in winter they won't give them they won't give them extra money for fuel, for eating, for food, for vitamins. Government won't do this for its own people. But as soon as all these invaders, criminals, scammers, freeloaders come to the country, preaching bad laws, basically raping our women and children, right? I know it's a bit crazy. Government's all for it. Government's all for giving the tax money away to all these bad people, right? And then it's got people like the Mayor of London. And Mayor of London, what a creep he is. And he shouldn't even be in power. I mean, how the hell has a Muslim got in power in England? We're a Christian country, we're not a Muslim country. So can you see how crazy all this is? And while the government sit idly by and let everything happen, someone else is going to have to come in and take over and sort all this crazy problem out, like building prisons, putting the invaders in prisons, sending them straight back after a week or two, and it's just common sense that's not happening. Absolutely crazy. Anyway, back to the Philippines. Back to the Philippines. So it's, within rainy season, and you'll see later on, I think we've got a chicken, and this chicken's an orphan, and I'm sure she's got some type of bird flu, and, I did actually search it online. There's a lot of organic things you can give your chickens to keep them strong and healthy. But there's always, when I actually do come back to England, I would love to visit quite a few places I've never visited before. I'd like to visit Scotland, Wales, but off mind, quite a lot of seaside places. But one of the places I'd love to go and visit is actually Scotland. And then I thought, well, how would I get up Scotland? Motorbike, car? Well, that's not going to happen. So I thought maybe it'd be a great idea to actually get a train. Catch a train up to Scotland and do a blog. So, start doing some YouTube videos on Scotland.
This chicken's not looking very
right,
good
to let you listen this, guys.
And it maybe, I don't know if it's got bird flu, but bird flu kills a lot of chickens. According to Joveline, there's no bird flu, so let's hope their little chicken's going to be okay. But that's not normal behaviour for a chicken. And it's not normal behaviour for this chicken. See how she keeps throwing her head forwards? To join us. We're going out. We're going to Mercia. Before it rains. Right, I'm going to open gate. Oh, we're off to Mercia. We're off to Mercia. Let's have a scratch.